Hi friends, my name is Trish Roberts. You're watching Faint Signals from Vega. So I'm bringing this up again about Yemen and the genocide in Yemen, which is led by the Saudis but is fully supported by the US Empire and UAE, the United Arab Emirates, and how important it is for us to speak out about this issue because it's not getting anywhere near, it's not getting really any sort of airing in the mainstream media. And if it does, it's certainly getting a propagandized um, sort of report. Um, and it's not really giving any indication that the US is fully supporting this with on-the-ground troops, refueling planes in the air, and it's basically fully supported. They're actually pilots, U.S. U.S. military are in the backs of the Saudi planes, helping guide them to targets and all kinds of things. They're bombing hospitals marked with Doctors Without Borders, Medicine Sans Frontières hospitals. They're bombing schools, infrastructure. It's a genocide, and it's happening right now as we speak. And if we don't try and disseminate information, and I'm going to leave some information in the comment section and accommodate along with this video. If we don't talk about this and disseminate information, in a couple of years' time, we're going to find out that millions and millions and millions of people, including many, many millions of children, have died as a result of famine and also um, cholera. The U.S. literally bombed the U.S. backed Saudi bombers bombed a hospital which was set up for the epidemic of cholera that's broken out, which is helping kill one child every 10 minutes in Yemen, even though it was clearly marked on the roof. And they recently, as far as I understand, bombed the port of Hodeidah, which is crucial for food supplies to Yemen. And this could mean hundreds of thousands of people, or more, millions even, could be in dire straits or starve and die. 70% or I think it's 70% or 80% of the food that comes into Yemen comes through that port. So this is a genocide, and the US is fully supporting it. And we have to speak out about this. We have to speak out about it every day. And there's only, I think, 3 senators. One of them is Bernie Sanders, and I don't know what took him so long to talk about this issue. But they're the only ones that are appealing to Secretary Mattis to ask the Pentagon what's going on. But, what took them so long has been going on for 2 or 3 years now. And you can read a WikiLeaks report about this. I'll leave it also accompanying this video. That was explaining it. This was started in the Obama administration. So, as I say before, when the U.S. wrings its hands about the terrible, we must intervene in this for humanitarian reasons in Syria or whatever, they always say that. It's just a cover for usually helping others with regime change or direct regime change themselves via the CIA. And you know that the U.S. has a long history by using the CIA to they've meddled in at least 81, attempted to overthrow or have overthrown at least 81 democratically elected governments since 1946 to 2000. And it goes on unabated. It's been going on since then. It's a modus operandi of U.S. empire. So we have to, you know, this sort of there's never going to be any sort of peace, and there's going to be a perpetual war, while the military-industrial complex, which is basically running the show, goes on unabated. And I hope that if you live in the United States, you will do everything you can in a nonviolent way to address this. There is a march that's happening, a march to the Pentagon, and it's arranged by Cindy Sheehan, who lost her son in 2004 in Iraq. She's a really great peace activist. She's helping organize this, a march against the Pentagon, and I think it's October 20th to 21st. And I hope that you will join that march if you can, if you live in the United States and you're able to get to that area. And you can find details of that if you search online for March Against the Pentagon. So, I mean, this whole U.S. empire warmongering and perpetual warmongering and imperialism based on white supremacy, it has to end. And, I mean, you only have to look at how the liberals have responded to this peace deal, and I don't know how solid that peace deal is going to be between the DPRK and the United States. I doubt that it will hold because they have too many warmongers there, and I think Trump kind of did it in a way just as a sort of like as self-aggrandizement. I mean, he's a bumbling, incompetent front puppet. But, you know, still, it's really about South Korea and North Korea. They're the ones really that should be working it out, and the US should have nothing to do with it. They should just get out. But see, this is the nature of this idea of American exceptionalism and US empire, thinking that they have the right to meddle in everybody else's affairs. You know, and this is almost on a DNA level is supported by a lot of US citizens because they've been raised to believe that the US is something special and morally superior to other countries. I mean, look at the way the liberal mainstream media has been treating this issue of DPRK, talking about what on earth is Trump doing, giving himself equal standing to the leader of North Korea, as if the US has any right, any sort of moral superiority with all the human rights abuses that they have been engaged in for decades. I mean, they've killed millions and millions and millions of people and continue to. And yet they go on about, DPRK and Kim Jong-un being this, this dictator that's, with human rights abuses. Whatever the story is with him, it has nothing to do, they should have nothing to do with interfering with South Korea and North Korea making peace, but they just can't help themselves. So we have to do what we can to sort of end this terrible, this insatiable monster, which is the US empire and its military-industrial complex going around the world, threatening countries, and making various countries submit to them. And if they don't submit, then they will be messed with. And I mean, the US has interfered with my country in Australia. They helped overthrow the government, and they even admitted to it, our government in 1975, and they got rid of a democratic socialist prime minister. They actually admitted that, and it's been a neoliberal mess ever since. So, I've had that experience in my country. I remember that in 1975. So, it's the greatest, and the US empire is the greatest threat to world peace today, and we need to acknowledge that their wars are based on white supremacy and full spectrum dominance. And we're not hearing about anything that's real in the mainstream media at all. Nothing. It's just propaganda, and it's just US empire, the US empire narrative. And it's all for ratings, this stuff with Trump, what the mainstream media does. It's just ratings. They don't care, and they'll happily beat the drums of war. So anyway, but this thing with Yemen, this is very, very important, and we have to support our brothers and sisters in Yemen. This is a global community, and if we think that what's happening in Yemen or what's happening anywhere in the world that US empire is engaged in, if we think that has nothing to do with us and that it's not going to come back to us too, even in a selfish sense, we should care what's happening, because it is coming back and it will come back. These things never remain in a vacuum. So, if we don't want to end up in a completely feudal world of feudalism with lords and serfs, which it's pretty much heading for now, if we don't want an inverted totalitarian state, which is where the market, the corporations run everything, it's not a demagogue type thing, it's corporations running things, then we're going to have to do what we can to reverse it. Otherwise, we're just going to be victims to it. That's just the bottom line, really. And we're all victims to it even right now. But of course, brown people and black people all over the world are probably suffering the most. So, we have to do what we can, and that means disseminating information, and it means protesting, and it means holding public officials accountable. That they end up in the end, they care a lot about their careers. So, there's a lot more of us than there are of them. We have to remember that. There are a lot more of us than there are of these public officials. I mean, even in U.S. Congress, there's only 535 or something people there. So what are we waiting for? If we all stood up, that meme of people underneath a Monopoly board or bending over, hunched over in the Monopoly board, and then these white oligarchs sitting playing Monopoly. All we have to do is stand up, the global community, and reject this. But if we don't, well, we're going to be all victims of it. But right now there's a genocide in Yemen, and we have to do something. And we all have to do something. Children are dying at a rate of 1 child every 10 minutes in Yemen, and this is an intentional genocide at this point. It just is. It's not a war, it's a genocide. Just like what's happening in Israel, in apartheid Israel, to the Palestinians. It's not a conflict, it's not a war, it's a genocide against Palestinians. And guess who are the two greatest allies of the US empire? A head-shopping Saudi family who are committing a genocide in Yemen and have all sorts of human rights abuses in their country, and apartheid Israel, which is massacring Palestinians, unarmed Palestinians, and killing them in the streets, killing them in their homes, bulldozing their homes and whatever. That's the two closest allies that the US has. What does that say about US empire? Everything you need to know. That's the true axis of evil, right? If we're going to throw around slurs at other countries. The true axis of evil is the US empire, apartheid Israel, and the head-chopping Saudi family and Mohammed bin Salman, right? So we need to get it straight and then act upon that knowledge and start disseminating real news, independent journalism. We need to get out in the streets, and we need to we have to reject this. So remember your brothers and sisters in Yemen. We're all a global community. We're all interconnected, and their struggle is our struggle. So that's all I really wanted to say. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Please share this if you want to, and please subscribe to my channel. You can, and please hit the little bell notifications if you subscribe. That will make sure you get an update when I upload a new video or when I go live. And you can find it at Vegantrove, Vegantrove. And just as a note, because veganism is a very important issue to me, if you're not vegan, consider going vegan, because non-human sentient animals are not our resources. They never were, and they certainly aren't now. So please consider going vegan, and you can find my podcast about how to go vegan. It's a comprehensive vegan podcast at howtogovegan.org. Okay, thanks so much for watching. My name's Trish Roberts. You're watching Faint Signals from Vega. Till next time, bye for now.